Hello and happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you are all doing well. This week, we are going to make a couple cards and a cute little nested box, a nested treat box with the Pick of the Patch bundle. So here's what the bundle looks like. It's got this super cute stamp set and then this punch. So here's a peek at the projects we are going to make today. We've got a couple cards here, and then we've got this adorable little box that we're going to cover in designer series paper and some punches. And then for this week's embellishments, I was going to use the adhesive back speckled dots, but they are out of stock at the moment. They are coming back. So I'm going to go ahead and replace those with the brushed metallic adhesive back dots. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with our card that has the very vanilla base. So your kit will also have an envelope, but you will be getting an A2 card base. Let me grab my bone folder here so I can burnish this. And then you will have a very vanilla panel. I don't know if I said basic white. If I did, I meant very vanilla. So you'll have this card panel, and then also in your kit, you're going to have some ribbon, and then you will have these die cuts. Whoops. You will have a strip of very vanilla that you will need to stamp this sentiment on in Memento Tuxedo Black. And then you will also have some paper to punch out a pumpkin, as well as a stem for your pumpkin. And this little top piece here. So the die cuts will be done for you because they are not from the bundle, but you will need to punch the pumpkin and its coordinating pieces. So let's go ahead and get started assembling this card. So the first thing we're going to want to do is adhere our ribbon. So I like to put my ribbon, at least attach it to the back of whatever I'm going to be putting it on, assuming I can get my adhesive to start there. Just so it's a little bit sturdy, and then decide where I want my bow to be tied. And I'm going to want it to be tied over to the side here. Now, I don't want to put any adhesive down here on the front to hold the ribbon down because we are going to need to tuck some things behind there. So just keep that in mind. I apologize if you can hear any background noise. My husband is home today, and him and my son are watching something at the time that I am recording this, and they can get a bit loud. Okay, so we have our bow tied. Now I'm going to grab my ribbon shears. And I'm going to cut these ends here. And then we can go ahead and adhere this to our card front. Now you can pop this up if you like, or just adhere it straight down to your base. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this straight down. I don't think my seal wants to behave today at all. Typical. I feel like it's when your children don't want to behave when they're getting their picture taken. Kind of feel that's how my Stampin' Seal likes to behave. I did not get that down straight. All right, there we go. So now I'm just going to take a little bit of my seal. You could use liquid glue for this. You could, if you have these dies, you could cut these out with adhesive sheets on the back. And then for our pumpkin, we are going to want to pop that up. So I'm going to grab some dimensionals here, and I'm just going to put one on the top and one on the bottom because I don't want it to stick to the ribbon necessarily, but I also need to put down my little pieces here. And for my little pieces, I am going to use liquid adhesive. That is a little bit easier. Okay, I guess we're going to do this one first since it will let me pick it up. Should probably get my silicone mat out for this. I forget how messy I am with glue sometimes. And then I'm just going to go ahead and stick this one down as well, but it is going to just kind of go off to an angle like that. I'm just going to blot that on there to get that excess glue off, and I'll go ahead and take that backing off. The other one came off before I wanted, so it kept sticking to me. Okay, we'll go ahead and put that down there. And then we're going to take our sentiment and just put it across here, but I need to trim it down first. And then I'm going to put an adhesive over here to the end. You can see I messed up the first time I was stamping, so that's why there's two sides to the paper. Oh, I hope you can't hear people yelling. I asked them to be quiet, but unfortunately, I had not been feeling good for a few days, and so I would normally record on a weekend or during a time where they both weren't home, but did not have that luxury this week. So there we go. There is all of our little elements put down. Now you could totally just use adhesive and put everything flat if you wanted. And grab my take your pick tool, and I am going to use the copper dots on this one here. I'm not sure where I want to put this one. I'll stick it over here. And then when this glue dries, I will go and erase it that's on my little stem there, especially because this mixture of glue is shiny. And there we have card number 1. Oops. I don't use Very Vanilla a lot, but I really like it with warm fall colors. All right, there's card 1. Just gonna rub this adhesive off here. All right. So card number 2, we're gonna do some stamping as well, but in your kit, along with an envelope, you're going to have this crumb cake card base, and then you'll have a piece of Very Vanilla for stamping, and you'll have some pieces for your base to make your design. So we'll be laying them out like this, and we have a little piece of ribbon to use. But let's go ahead and stamp our pumpkin. And I'm hoping that ribbon I cut is going to be long enough. Oh, that was a scrap of ribbon. Okay, I was thinking, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to tie that little piece. No, that's not the color I wanted. So we're going to stamp the large pumpkin in Cajun Craze. And we will punch that out. Okay, and then let's go ahead and stamp on our, I almost said Whisper White, which should be basic white, but is really Very Vanilla. All right, let me grab my chamois here because I need to clean this off so I can stamp it in Pumpkin Pie. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to bring over my little small pumpkin here. And if you want to kind of see how your spacing is going to work, you could bring over your bigger pumpkin that's going to go in between the other two and see where you want to maybe stamp your other pumpkins. Or you can just eyeball it, whatever works for you. And then we are going to take our old olive and we're going to stamp on this cute little stem here. And then we're going to take these, or not these, but this cute little tendril looking thing here and stamp these. All right, let me close all of these really quick here. And then we're going to stamp our sentiment, which I was pretty sure that I had mounted, but I don't think that I did. So let me grab that. It says, "You're the pick of the patch." So I'm just gonna lay this on my grid sheet here so I can make sure that it's straight. I can hear someone's dog barking outside. And then I will take my memento. Actually, my bad. It was not a dog. It was my neighbors talking outside. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to stamp that in black just sort of up here. And then we're going to take dimensionals and we're going to pop this up. But before we do that, you're going to need to take a piece of black scrap that is in your kit, and you're going to need to punch out a stem that is black and adhere that to your pumpkin. Probably not how I'm doing it, because certainly not the most secure way to attach the stem. Okay, so let's get our dimensionals on the back here. All right, so let's set this aside and get the rest of our card put together. So you can choose what side of the DSP you would like to use. I'm just choosing this pattern. On my samples, I used a different one. But you really can't go wrong with any of the patterns in here. They're all fabulous. And then let's go ahead and attach this to the Cajun Craze. And if you wanted, this would be a really fun panel to pop up, but you don't have to. And then we are going to take our ribbon and tie a bow. I try to give an adequate amount of ribbon in the kit in case you struggle like I do. And you're just going to put the bow here on top of the pumpkin with a glue dot. If you have it, you can use liquid glue. If you don't, whatever you have on hand. And then you can go ahead and trim your ends. Once you get your bow adhered, and then we'll put our embellishments on it. So for this one, I think I'm going to use these. I don't know exactly what colors these are supposed to be, or I guess this is the bronze. So there's gold, copper, and bronze. So we'll do the bronze ones on this one. Any of them would work just fine. And there you have card 2. Super simple, but it looks like you put a lot of work into it. Okay, so our next project is going to be the box. So in your kit, you will get 2 of these. They look exactly the same because they are exactly the same. They just happen to nest. And then you will also receive some ribbon that we are going to tie around the box when we're finished with it. And you'll receive DSP that is cut down for you to adhere to your box, as well as a piece of black that is punched with the modern oval punch, and you'll receive a piece of Very Vanilla to stamp on, and then a piece of black cardstock. So the first thing we're going to do is assemble our boxes so we know where to put our DSP. Now, there's two ways you could do this based on your preference. If you wanted to have it with the adhesive side facing up, when you fold your box, your adhesive and your tabs are going to be on the outside. If you don't want it that way, you're going to fold it this way so that your tabs are on the inside. So I have done these both ways because I did not realize that the boxes were exactly the same. I thought because they nested, maybe one was smaller than the other. Now, my instinct tells me that based on the way the score lines look, that my tab should be on the outside because the score line is indented. That's where I fold. But today I'm going to try it with the tabs all going to the inside because I want to see if that works better than what I originally did. So go ahead and before you start putting things together, make sure you do all of your burnishing. This is going to help your box fold better. It's going to help it have a nice shape once you get it all folded. Sometimes if you don't do this, even if you are using just regular cardstock or DSP, your project can still kind of have a bowed appearance where it tends to be a little bit rounded in spots instead of a nice sharp shape, whatever shape that is that you are trying to accomplish. So if it's scored, make sure that you're burnishing it. All right, I think I did all the sides. So once you get that all done, this is just super easy. It's just a matter of taking the adhesive off and adhering the sides together. Now, I do think it looks much cleaner if the tabs go to the inside. So there aren't any, sorry. Yeah, and also this is very thick adhesive, or not thick, but strong adhesive. So try to get it lined up correctly the first time. Don't do like I did where you have to try to peel it off. As I was saying, unfortunately, there isn't any directions with these boxes. So, you know, I mean, yes, they are kind of self-explanatory, but because they're nesting, I thought there might be a trick. All right, so that's what it looks like when you have it assembled. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the other one really quick. And I just do one section of adhesive at a time because it's just more safe for me to do it that way. I know that I will get stuff stuck where it doesn't need to be stuck if I'm overzealous and take all the adhesive off at once. So I'm just kind of lining up the corners once I get the adhesive off. And this is really easy to peel off. It's not hard to get it started. Okay. So there we have our two boxes. Now for our DSP. So for the box that's going to be the outside box, you're going to have a piece that looks like this. It's going to have this notch cut out of it that matches the notch of the box. And what I did to cut this was I took the smallest circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. And before, now yours will come cut, but if you're going to recreate this at home, the way that I did this was I took, hypothetically say, this was going to be the front. Before I put my boxes together, I went ahead and I stuck this piece of paper. I laid it flat on this side of the box, and now I can try to shove it down. I took a pencil and I made a mark, and then that's where I laid my die down and cut the notch out so that it would match. So the one with the notch is going to be for your front. And then the other 4 that you have are going to be for the sides and the back. And then we also need a piece, or not the other 4 pieces. So you'll have 4 pieces for one box, and then you'll have 2 pieces for the box that's going to be going inside. Hopefully that will make more sense once we get there. So my suggestion for doing this is either liquid adhesive or tear and tape. Now I'm going to use liquid adhesive because watching me apply tear and tape to every single panel that we need would take a lot of time. So I'm applying glue directly to my box instead of my paper and just laying it on there. And then I'm just gonna push that down a little bit, and I'll go to the front and do the same thing. Now I am using a mixture of Tombow and our fine tip glue. That's the mixture I have in this bottle. Let's just make sure it's lined up. I'll go to the side here. Now, the first time when I assembled my sample box, I just used Stampin' Seal because I wanted to get it put together and I didn't want it to take a lot of time. I just kind of wanted to get the sample made, but it is definitely not the cleanest way to make it because the paper will eventually start, the paper will eventually start to peel up in areas where you didn't get the Stampin' Seal. So but this glue combination is very strong, so it's great for things like this or 3D projects if you don't have tear and tape. All right, so there we have a little box stuck together, or DSP on the sides, I guess I should say. And then we have this one here, and this is going to go inside. Now it's kind of a snug fit, so you are going to have to kind of smush some part of your box to get it in there. I mean, it's a very snug fit, which is why I was kind of curious how they were going to go together. So what I did on my first box, my sample box, was I actually put one together with the flaps on the inside, and I put one together with the flaps on the outside, thinking, well, maybe the one with the flaps on the outside would be just a tad bit bigger, and I could fit the one with the tabs on the inside in it easier. And I will tell you, that trick didn't work. So we're going to want a piece for the top. So this is the piece that's going to go on the top because it matches these. Now, if you wanted to, you could do all of this before you actually put the box together, but it is easier visually for me to see where things go when it's assembled. And then the reason that I put this piece of cardstock in here, it's kind of up to you if you want to use it, is because when the boxes are nested, there's a bit of this white that's going to show through where this notch is. And I wanted it to coordinate just a little bit more. So I went ahead and put in a piece of black cardstock if you would like to attach that so that your box looks completely covered from the outside. But it is totally up to you. I thought it helped it look a little more finished. All right, so I'm going to set that aside and we will go ahead and do our stamping. So we're going to need our big pumpkin stamp again and our pumpkin pie ink. And then, of course, I forgot to mount another stamp. We're going to need the little pumpkin face. I'm just going to take this leaf off here. And we're going to stamp this in Memento Tuxedo Black. If I can stop it getting stuck to my fingers. And we'll go ahead and punch this out. And then I have another stem in here that's punched out in Old Olive that we're going to adhere down to the top of our pumpkin. And while we're giving that a chance to set, let's go ahead and put our nesting boxes together. And we need to adhere our modern oval to the front. So you can do that with whatever adhesive is easiest for you. And then we're going to take the scrap that we have from punching out our pumpkin, and we're going to stamp Cutie Pie. In Memento. I'm going to go ahead and grab my trimmer here and trim this down. And then that is going to go on the modern oval here, but we'll end up trimming that down, obviously. So I'm just going to lay this here and see kind of where I need to adhere my sentiment because we don't want the pumpkin to go too far off the box there. Let's see if I've... Perfect. And then the pumpkin's going to go up on dimensionals. And then we can go ahead and trim off this edge here. So there's our box, super cute with all of its paper on it. And then let me grab the ribbon I have here for tying around the box. Now to keep your ribbon from slipping, you can put a little bit of seal on the bottom there or whatever you have, and that'll kind of keep it from slipping while you tie it. And you're just gonna tie a bow on the top. I guess I should have tied it the other way if I wanted it to lay nicely for me, but that's okay. And we'll trim the ends. And we aren't going to put any embellishments on this. And I can see that my sentiment has decided it wanted to be a little crooked before it dried. So there we have it. So there is our little box. We've got, oh my gosh, everything's sticking to me. We've got our DSP. Super cute. All right, so let's grab the other projects that we made. We've got our cute little box and a big old mess. And then we've got these two pretty cards. And like I said earlier, I don't use Very Vanilla a lot, but I have to tell you, I am loving, 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 loving this ribbon. It is very pretty. So I hope you enjoyed these projects. This is not the right one. I grabbed the wrong sample, but at least on this one, you can see these are the speckled dots. So when those come back in, if you want to grab some of those and make these cards again, you could even wait if you wanted to make the cards. But that's what the speckled dots look like on the card. I'll grab the one that we made today in class, though, with the copper, so you can see what they look like. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this class and that it inspired you to grab this product bundle or to create some cards with it if you already have it. And I hope you will join me on Saturday for another video in my gratitude series. Thank you, everybody.